everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Viper Falls, A Week in the Life. We're in Dylan's house this week, and we're kicking things off with a bang. It looks like Powell, Dylan's father, has come down with pneumonia after a lengthy battle with the flu. The family is busy with the arrival of Dylan's daughter, Eloise. So let's go dive in. Let's unpack a little bit about this house. Dylan is the youngest son of Charlie and Powell. His older siblings are the twins, Dawn and Dawson. The family did not have a lot of money when Dylan was growing up, but when Dylan was a child, both his parents got a lot of promotions, and now the family has a decent amount of money. Dylan's parents are absolutely obsessed with their backyard garden. They have always spent more time in the garden than with the family, something that Dylan's always struggled with. Dylan's tried to bond with them by going out to the garden and adapting to their interests, but he doesn't really have a green thumb, and he always felt like he wasn't helping the garden and he was just getting in the way and annoying his parents, especially his dad, who he never has had a good relationship with. Dylan's always wanted a close relationship with his family, but they've never been close. The twins kind of always had each other, and Dylan was just left to entertain himself. So Dylan's been kind of lonely. Dylan did go to college, unlike his twin siblings, so he was the only child in the family to go to college, where he met his college sweetheart, Danielle. And now he's moved Danielle into his parents' home. Dylan moved back home with the idea that he's older and more mature and he'll get along better with his parents now. Unfortunately, he has just learned that his parents kind of were the problem with the relationship, and they are still exactly the same as they were when he was younger. His mom had a lot of family tragedies occur during his early childhood that really made her closed off. And his dad has just always been very distant and cold. They kind of exist more as roommates than like parents and son. Also, his parents really disliked Danielle for some reason. Dylan can't quite understand what's going on there. They just immediately were not fans of Danielle, didn't like her. Tensions have eased up a little bit now with the arrival of Eloise, but their relationship is still a little rocky. Danielle is a backup dancer, level 2 in the dance career track, and Charlie and Powell are both retired, so they have all this time to garden and hang out with their family. And poor little Eloise has just been lying on the kitchen floor this entire time since her birth, so we're gonna go ahead and pick her up. Charlie is the sister of Calliope and Cyrus, who, if y'all remember from Donna, Joe, and Delilah's episodes, Calliope was Donna, Joe, and Delilah's mother, who perished within the same 24 hours as Cyrus and their mother, or grandmother. So Charlie has a lot of trauma. Charlie also was having an affair with Joe Carr, who was her college roommate / best friend, Campbell's boyfriend, now husband. So Charlie has a bit of a messy past. Dylan is in the paranormal career track, which is a brand new career for Viper Falls. No one else has really done that career before, so he's breaking new ground there. The twins moved out shortly after they turned 18, and they don't visit often because they just don't really have the best relationship with their parents. Charlie, like a lot of the third generation, seems to be having a bit of an end-of-life crisis. She's worried that she's kind of wasted her life and she hasn't spent as much time with her family as she should have. She's a fortune sim. I believe family is her secondary aspiration. So I think she spent so long of her life just trying to be financially stable. She accidentally neglected her family in the process. Charlie knows it's her own fault that she isn't close with her children and that she barely knows her other grandchild, Edward, and it really bothers her. Like, she's barely seen her other grandchild. So she's really excited to have Eloise in the house. And Powell is not doing great. He's a knowledge sim. He is in the red aspiration. He has pneumonia. Charlie, on the other hand, is perma-platinum. So even though Charlie has some regrets about her past, she hasn't let it stop her from living a full life. So Charlie is just enjoying the little things in life. She really is all about family now. She wants to have another grandchild, have a relative get married. Dylan and Danielle are not married nor engaged. And unlike Donna Joe's situation, I think they're just content being boyfriend and girlfriend. They don't really have a desire for titles or a big wedding. And it's working for them. Neither of them are romance sims. They're both just very not interested in marriage. Totally different situation than with Ted Mendoza, who is running around town, refusing to even claim Donna Joe. Just a whole mess. Dylan and Danielle don't do messy. They are way too career focused to have an affair. That's why they get along so well. They're just two fortune sims trying to make as much money as possible. Charlie is making dinner. It looks like she's making some quesadillas. And I love their kitchen. It's one of my favorite kitchens in these rotations. And she's gonna go ahead and serve dinner for her and Pal. It looks like he is pretty hungry too. We're gonna waken him from his pneumonia slumber and try to get some food in him. So in The Sims 2, they will get pneumonia if they have a cold or flu that's been untreated, I think for 7 sim days. So everybody else in the family got the cold and they recovered pretty quickly. But because Pal is older and in the red aspiration, he is really struggling. And now he and Charlie are just discussing the arrival of their newest granddaughter. And it's kind of rare they get these little moments to each other these days with the house being so full. So it's nice. We've seen lots of different parenting styles so far, and I think Pal and Charlie kind of fall into the same parenting styles as Clarence and Joe and Campbell, in which they're just kind of very absent, emotionally absent. And I think it's a generational thing. They didn't really know how to be present for their children, but now they have grandchildren. Charlie kind of sees it as a do-over, and she's really trying to be more involved. Charlie's really stressed out about Pal overexerting himself. The doctor has ordered him to strict bed rest, but he refuses to lie down. He's stressing out the whole family. Charlie's like, "It's okay, babe. I'll put away the dishes. I'll clean up." And he's like, "No, let me help." And then Charlie's gonna go outside and garden. Pal is having major FOMO from not being able to garden. He really does not believe the doctor when the doctor is insisting he just needs to rest. This man refuses to rest. It's a little annoying and frustrating that a lot of his actions will get canceled out so he can have a cough attack. And when he starts coughing like that, I'm like, you just need to lie down. And Danielle's actually brought home Donna Joe from work. They both work at the same gym. Donna Joe's an instructor. Danielle's going to clean up a little bit because she was having a breakdown and still is having a breakdown at how dirty things are outside. I think it's because the dog keeps destroying the flower beds. And speaking of the dog, we do need to go ahead and fill up that dog food bowl. But Pal cannot stop coughing. Technically, Danielle is a backup dancer, but because it's my game and I control the narrative, I'm going to say she's actually an alternate instructor because in Viper Falls, she and Donna Joe work at the same gym. Donna Joe's like a head fitness instructor. Oh no, Charlie has the flu now too. Okay, no worries. We're just gonna rest up. But like I said, there was some weird tension between Pal and Charlie when Danielle first moved in. They really disliked her. I think they just felt threatened by a pretty blonde, college-educated woman being in their house and in their son's life for some reason. But now that she's had the grandchild and she's officially part of the family, they seem to have warmed up to her quite a bit. She got pretty tired herself. She did just give birth this morning and then immediately headed off to work. Hashtag girl boss. Pal is a stubborn old man to his core. He is absolutely refusing to take things easy, even to the detriment of his own health. He has nature as his one true hobby, so right now he really wants to bird watch, catch some bugs, go hiking. Unfortunately, he is very, very ill with pneumonia, so none of that seems like a good idea at the moment. Oh, he caught Danielle cheating. Okay, I don't know when that happened, but so we'll go ahead with that storyline as he coughs all over the toilet. We need to get him back to bed. But that would explain why Pao and Charlie really disliked Danielle so much. They saw that she was not loyal to Dylan after moving in, and that really rubbed them the wrong way. And I think they told Dylan about it, but Dylan and Danielle kind of worked through it, and now they're all just trying to be one happy family. I wonder who Danielle had an affair with. Dylan is home from work. He said it's been a so-so week. The birth of his first child means nothing to him because it is so disgusting outside. And here is Danielle taking care of sweet little baby Eloise. Danielle's doing okay. Her aspiration is in the low greens. She wants to gain a skill point, see a movie, cook a meal, and talk about her hobby. All very doable. I think we'll be able to do that and boost her aspiration up. And then she's just giving Eloise a little bath before bed. The sigh before she had to cuddle her. I think she and Dylan really were just kind of fooling around, taking things very casual, and she got pregnant very unexpectedly. Neither of them really wanted kids, but it is what it is. Now they have Eloise and they love her very much.
She never pictured herself as a mom, but she is loving this journey. There's definitely a bit of a learning curve. She can't picture life without her daughter now, as unexpected as the pregnancy was. And again, she and Dylan just get along so well. They're both fortune sims. They have similar goals and interests.
I'm going to go with the narrative that the affair or cheating that Powell witnessed, it was like a light peck on the lips or something. Nothing super crazy. No dates, no woohoo, no makeouts, or even hand holding or flirting. And it was just miscommunication. It was with an old friend of Danielle's. And Danielle immediately was like, what? Like, she didn't even realize that her in-laws disliked her so much until Dylan said, hey, my parents are trying to get me to break up with you. They said, you cheated on me. And Danielle was like, what? That was my old college friend. He's gay. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then Dylan realized who the friend was, what was happening.
And I think a lot of Powell's resentment towards Danielle comes just from the fact that she and Dylan aren't married and they have a baby. Powell thinks it looks bad, and Dylan's like, looks bad to who? Again, this whole family is just so obsessed with appearances, and like, for what?
Oh no. Charlie tried to take a bath, but immediately was taken down by a nasty cough. Couldn't even make it in the tub. We're gonna try again so she can soak and relax and hopefully cure herself of this flu before it turns into pneumonia. Charlie has had a very rough life. She lost her sister and brother and mother all within 24 sim hours. And I think that trauma has really shaped the rest of her life. She really clings to relationships, and she's also kind of afraid of being too close. So she has an interesting juxtaposition going on there where she always wants to be surrounded by people, but she doesn't really want to talk to them because she's afraid she's going to get hurt. And I think that distance and that trauma really shaped her parenting. And that's why Dylan feels so detached from his mother. But like, she's trying to be present, but she just has a lot of trauma that she never really got to heal. The fires also, all that happened, I believe, when her children were very young. Right after she became a mother, she immediately lost 3 of the closest Sims to her. Her father, Braxton, was never really the same after the fires, and she just doesn't really know her nieces that well. Donna Jo, Delilah, and Dua, the family really drifted apart. Calliope, her sister, was really good at keeping everybody in the loop, and so the trauma has just affected the whole family. Dylan has felt it too because, like I said, he feels his parents care more about their garden than they do their family at times.
The trauma in this family has trickled down generations. Charlie's trauma definitely just led her to garden all the time to escape any feelings, to escape being with her family. And then Powell just didn't really care about his kids. I don't know what his deal is. Powell is just very old-fashioned, and he's just kind of stuck in his ways. He's rejecting modern times. He really hates that Dylan and Danielle aren't married, and I think Dylan's finally realizing no matter what he does, his dad's gonna find an issue with it. Like, Dylan will never have his father's approval, so he should stop seeking it. And Dylan's kind of decided he's gonna stop trying to live his life to get approval from his parents, and he's like, wow, I feel free. Dylan is realizing he doesn't like how Powell has lived his life, and he thinks Powell is crazy. So he's like, why do I care what this man thinks of me and my life?
Powell is really too sick to do much of anything except sleep these days, but Charlie has been making an effort to step up more and help out with the family and just be more involved in her own life. And Dylan does see his mother trying. I guess Dylan's just kind of sad that, like, he never really was close with his dad, and now it kind of seems like his dad's on his last leg, and it's just hard. Charlie also has the responsibility now of taking care of the entire garden by herself, which is a bit of a task. They do have a butler come in and help, but he's been preoccupied with baby care recently.
With Charlie now being the only person taking care of the garden, she's kind of realizing she doesn't even like gardening that much. I mean, it is her one true hobby. She's been utilizing it as a way to escape her thoughts and not deal with all the sadness she felt losing her siblings and her mother. But now that she's older, she's like, I want to feel and experience things because that's what life is all about, feeling and experiencing things.
I think this just kind of sums up Dylan's relationship with his family. He's always going to pick his girlfriend over his parents, and Charlie's trying to come and bond with him, but he's like, Mom, like, not now.
So even though Dylan's not in the scientist career branch, which seems to be the career branch that's revealing all the Viper Falls secrets, he's learning a lot about Viper Falls through the paranormal career. I think the paranormal career and the science career have a lot of overlap, even if the scientist of Viper Falls would beg to differ.
And here's Charlie bonding with Danielle. They both went to college. They know the same college cheer. So, okay, Dylan is like, okay, my mom's trying to be better. She's trying to warm up to my girlfriend and bond with me. This is unheard of behavior, her coming in and kind of goofing around. I think that the decline of Powell is hitting all the family very hard. They're like, oh no, life is short, it's fleeting, and all we really have is each other. So I think it is sweet that they're all coming together now. Maybe not under the best circumstances, but there's no time like the present. Anyway, so Dylan's a conspiracy theorist, so he's pretty good at sorting out the good and bad, the correct and wrong conspiracies. And so when his parents were like, hey, Danielle's having an affair, he examined the facts. He talked to his girlfriend, something his family didn't normally do.
And he concluded she did not cheat on him. Dylan knows that the truth is out there in Viper Falls, and he's gonna learn it. He's heard some rumblings about a resurrection phone that can resurrect dead Sims. So he's really interested in learning more about that, especially with his father's declining health.
And then here we just have the two generations of woman, Charlie out back working on that giant greenhouse garden by herself. And Danielle is working out excessively. She really wants a promotion. She's kind of tired of being a backup dancer. She's ready to take the main stage. And she really wants that promotion, as we can see. And see, she does care a lot about Dylan. She's afraid of him dying, of him rejecting her advances. But she also thinks the family needs to hire some more help around the house, especially with the garden. She's like, it's really hard on your mom to take care of that entire garden by herself now that your dad's sick. But Charlie doesn't really want help because I think that would be admitting that Powell is very sick. And so they're all just kind of living in denial. It's this weird little bubble of not reality, but I wouldn't even call it optimism. It's just a bubble of denying reality. And yeah, I don't know. And then here's Pal up. And whenever he's awake and walking around, he is just always coughing around the house. So he was in the adventure career track. He was a relic liberator level 5, and Charlie was an art forager in the photography or the art career track. I don't know what it's called. So they both had jobs like collecting artifacts and examining them, and that's really what drew them so close together. But their jobs were very demanding. They weren't home a lot, and then Dylan just felt very left to his own devices.
Dylan was pretty lonely throughout his whole childhood. As we've discussed, his older siblings are twins and best friends, and also about 10 years older than him. And then his parents were just so preoccupied with their garden. He just spent a lot of time alone, and by default, he just got pretty good at being alone.
Oh, and Danielle is fit now. Hopefully she can get that promotion soon. She's been working out like crazy, trying to advance in the career track. Even now, Dylan's eating breakfast. His dad won't even sit next to him. His dad's just sitting at the bar stool, staring at nothing. And Charlie's running outside to go tend the garden. I forgot that she has the flu and she's out here working with the flu. I guess it's not pneumonia yet, but Dylan and Danielle are kind of like, all right, maybe let's take it easy. Maybe let's not exert ourselves too hard when we're sick. And Pal is declining more and more every day. Danielle is going to work in about an hour. Her needs look like she might have the flu too. I always send my Sims to work with their hunger and bladder in red because they will fill those at work. Everything else, I don't think they'll fill at work, so I try to get all those green. Like, her energy is pretty low. It's going to be a rough shift, but she'll get through it. But her hunger and bladder should go down. They eat and use the bathroom at work. Pal, for some reason, is just sitting here staring at nothing, thinking about his life, but not really doing anything with these final days he has. He's not trying to talk to his son or call his other children or even hold his grandchild. He's just kind of putting around the house and feeling sorry for himself. And Dylan's like, whatever, I spent my whole life trying to bond with you. I'm just going to do my own thing at this point. I'm going to play some darts. And now Danielle is going to work. They actually live directly across the street from Donna Jo, Delilah, and I guess formerly Clarence, because Clarence has unfortunately passed on. And then we just have Charlie out in the garden, trying to pretend that Pal's condition is not rapidly declining. She is talking to her beloved plants.
She and Pal just got their pension checks. It looks like Charlie earns a little bit more than Pal does, which I'm sure is just another blow to his ego.
And Pal just seems to be sitting here totally in disbelief that he is so weak that he can't even go outside and do his favorite thing in the world, which is gardening. And like I said, I think Dylan's already grieved this relationship. He's like, I'm never gonna have a good relationship with my father. I'm never gonna have a good relationship with my father, so I just need to focus on my own family and my own life. Because it's, like I said, Dylan would go out and garden, his dad would just get mad at him for not having a green thumb, and his dad always just spent way more time outside doing stuff in the garden than spending any time with his children. Even the dog, Dylan thinks, has a better relationship with his father. And Dylan can see his mother is trying. She's been making more of an effort recently to be more involved in his life, to help out with her grandchildren more.
But he's also still trying to heal from a very isolated and lonely childhood. So it might take him a bit of time to have forgiveness.
And Pal just cannot resist not going outside despite the doctor's orders to stay on bed rest. He really wants help in the garden. Charlie's like, honey, you really can't. You're very weak right now. We're going to go ahead and pass over everything in his inventory to Charlie just in case. And then I remembered I have the packing crate. I will link them below. They are so helpful. You can pack up vegetables. I also have a fish packing crate and a vegetable one. But it's so convenient for giving gifts or especially running a business instead of selling individual like items. You can just sell crates of them and I love it. So we're going to have Pal go ahead and pack up all the vegetables in his inventory for easy gift giving. And this also gives him a sense of accomplishment that he's doing something, that he's working on the garden again. It's a lot less work than digging and planting and talking. He's just putting vegetables in a box, but it makes him feel fulfilled, especially when his aspiration's so low and he is just wandering around the house, coughing all the time. Even when he's very ill, he's still just so obsessed with gardening that he can't seem to do anything else. So he finished packing up all the cucumbers and now he's moved on to tomatoes. I don't know why the butler keeps coming in and out of the house.
Butlers are supposed to be cooking meals, but again, I think with Pal being so sick and Charlie being just burned out from the garden, the butler has a lot on his plate trying to maintain a nice clean landscape for the family as well as taking care of Eloise. So it's okay. Charlie is stepping up to the plate, cooking a lot of fresh meals. Charlie is begging Pal to come in, take a little break from packing up all the fruits and vegetables, and just rest up a little bit. Pal is literally allergic to resting. He refuses to rest.
And Charlie, I think, is starting to realize how lonely her children felt their whole childhoods with the family or the parents always out back gardening, because now Pal is kind of giving her the same treatment. He's not coming to eat. He's being very distant. He's spending all his time sleeping or just obsessing about the greenhouse. And she's like, really? I just want to spend time with you and cherish our time together, and you can't even sit still or eat a meal with me these days.
Of course, she isn't saying any of this aloud. This family absolutely loves to just bottle everything up.
So I think Charlie is like, oh no, like the kids did not feel very cared for growing up. And Charlie's desperately trying to fix that now by just being more present, more forgiving, I guess, accepting of Danielle and Dylan's relationship,
Even though they aren't married.
Now Pal is done with the packing, so he's going to go ahead and transfer all those vegetables to Charlie. So the family always has fresh fruit and vegetables, or not fruit, well, tomatoes are fruit, fresh vegetables and produce to eat.
Kashanda.
And immediately he needs to use the bathroom because that just exerted so much out of him to stand there and pack those vegetables up. And Charlie's like, he didn't even eat dinner. It got cold. Well, she's like, I like dinner. It was good to me. She's gonna clean up a little bit.
And Charlie, like Dylan, frequently reminisces on the days when the family had less money and they just seemed happier. But of course, all that was before tragedy struck Charlie's family. A lot just changed. Time changes a lot of things. It's not necessarily the lack of money that made them closer. I think it was just things were different.
Oh, this poor man keeps coughing. I think it took so much out of him to be at the produce packing station. We're going to go ahead and have him head to bed very soon, I think. We'll have him eat dinner real quick and then sleep so he can get his needs up. I'm really hoping Pal comes out of this pneumonia, but he's had it for quite a few days now. He does not seem to be getting better, so I'm a little nervous. And the frequent coughing always scares me, especially when I just cough for like a whole sim hour. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, he really cannot catch his breath right now. Okay. And Charlie is just outside in her happy place, chatting with her plants, trying, I guess, similar to Dylan. She's kind of accepted, oh, Pal's very stubborn. He can't see like how stubborn he's being, how distant he's being, how we're all trying to bond with him and help him. And he just refuses any help. He refuses any bonding. And it's very sad, but they're all just kind of, I guess, seeing it for what it is now and just accepting it and trying to move forward. Oh, and Danielle has finally been promoted. She's now an instructor at the gym, similar to Donna Joe. She got a nice bonus, and she's going to head straight to bed because she's not feeling the best either. There's so many little germs going around this house right now. I think everybody has some form of the flu or cold, or in Pal's case, pneumonia.
Charlie has never felt comfortable around other people, but she always feels like she can be her true self when it's just her and her plants.
And he's finally going to go ahead and eat dinner. I think it's about almost 4 hours after it was made. I know those quesadillas are rock hard, but he's like, whatever, food's food. His taste buds don't really taste anything right now anyway, so it's fine.
Pal is eating dinner alone and thinking about his deceased friend Clarence. Clarence's death has really troubled Pal. They were really close friends. And Pal is just really troubled by the idea of his own mortality. Dylan has been really pushing himself at work a lot, picking up a lot of overtime hours, and just trying to work as much as he can, I think, to avoid feeling any sort of emotion about his dad's health. I think Dylan has a lot of that hide your feelings mentality inherited from his parents.
Pal is down here doing some dishes. He is doing anything but resting in bed. I think he's just in denial about how sick he is. He keeps trying to get up and do it all, but there we go. We just need to lie down and take a little nap. The death of Clarence has really rattled the town of Viper Falls. I think he's like the first of the third generation to pass. It's really having everyone question their own mortality and just like if they're fulfilled with their life, if they're happy with their life. The question that all Sims need to come to terms with at some point. Have they lived a life they're proud of, or do they want more time to kind of turn things around? And Dylan is now home from work. His energy is completely zapped, as is his hygiene and the environment. We're gonna go ahead and put him to bed.
Okay, let's stop petting Cheddar and go inside, Dylan. Your needs are very, very red.
Oh, and then he passed out.
This random stray dog is just circling Dylan's unconscious body like a shark. But not to worry, Cheddar is standing guard. Kind of.
And he's just sleeping on the sidewalk. I guess we'll let his energy go down a little bit. 1 a.m, and he is just sleeping on the sidewalk.
Dylan definitely gets his avoidant tendencies from his parents. He has been working himself to the point of exhaustion just so he can avoid feeling anything, thinking too much about anything, especially concerning his dad.
Danielle is waking up to go ahead and change Eloise's diaper. Her needs are looking nice and green, and we're gonna go ahead and wake Dylan up and put him to bed for real this time, off the street. I'm amazed he's not injured from just passing out on the sidewalk like that. Eloise is all taken care of, so now Danielle can go ahead and go back to bed as well. I was curious what the dancing would do. I wanted to see her freestyle, then I was like, never mind. Pao is still sleeping. Charlie is awake.
At 2 in the morning.
I know there's mods to have the elders sleep through the night, but I think it's funny how they all just wake up whenever. Because that's kind of true to real life. If you guys know older people, like really old people, they will just wake up at 3 in the morning. I don't know why. Maybe it's something with your like circadian rhythm like changes as you get older. I don't know. I guess I could look it up, but it's fun to like speculate. And then Danielle is actually not going to go back to bed quite yet. She's going to use this time that she has right now to work out. She wants to gain another body skill point. She wants to earn, I think, 10,000 simoleons. Okay, good. So yeah, she is doing good. She and Dylan are both in gold aspirations. Charlie is perma platinum. And Pao is struggling, but again, it's kind of hard to get him to fulfill his needs right now because he is so sick and his motive bar just keeps tanking. Here he is crying about the fact that he doesn't like his life. He's unhappy. And I think facing his own mortality, he's like, I really picked my garden over my kids, but he's too proud to admit it. And he just does not really have a good relationship with his children. I said before that Charlie has been inspired by Pal's illness, and she's actually making more of an effort now while she's healthy and able to connect with Dylan, Danielle, and Eloise. And then I figured if Pao is up right now, we might as well have him give the little puppy a bath. Oh, maybe. Once he stops coughing, we'll go ahead. Danielle is just practicing darts in the background. I think Charlie is in the greenhouse. And we are just trying to give a cheddar a bath. We're out of groceries. Quell's surprise. Pao just cannot stop thinking about
his own demise.
And I realized after I ordered the groceries, they could have just stocked the fridge with their own fresh fruit. But it is what it is. I went ahead and ordered everything. So we'll just go ahead and stock the fridge. And then we'll also have more groceries too, I guess. Oh, and then I noticed Pao was missing, and it seems like the pneumonia has unfortunately caught up to him. And Cheddar is very distraught, as is this random wolf that is walking by and splashing in a puddle next to his body. That is very sad. So Pal did not pass of old age. He has passed from pneumonia. And that is that. That is, like I said, terribly sad that Pal Wong is no longer. And Charlie is inside making breakfast. I don't think the family's realized yet what has happened. But I'm sure as they all wake up and start going about their day, the news is going to travel pretty fast as they realize that Pal is no longer with them. So Charlie is just serving up grandma's comfort soup for everybody so we can knock any remnants of an illness out. And Dylan immediately woke up and discovered his father has passed on. And even though they didn't have the best relationship, that was still the only father that Dylan ever knew and had. He's just gone now, and now there's never going to be a chance of them mending their relationship. So as much as Dylan liked to say that he had already grieved, he now knows that wasn't entirely true. And we're going to go ahead and move Pal's grave to the family lot. If you guys are interested in a tour of the family cemetery,
I can make a video about the Viper Falls, a family lot, and other community lots that I have built. Just let me know below if y'all would like a tour of Viper Falls.
Dylan's gonna take a long hot bath and just kind of soak and let himself wallow in his misery for a little bit. He really wants to resurrect his father, and because he's in the paranormal career track, the career reward for that is actually the resurrection phone. So if he gets high enough in the career, I think he can resurrect his father. I mean, I guess we'll see how far along in the career it takes him to get there. Like if he waits too long, he might accidentally resurrect him as a zombie. And Pao is just on everybody's minds right now. Charlie is really taking the loss hard. That was her husband, the father of her children. They had been together for almost like 40 years. And Dylan's posing for a picture. He's not just giving a thumbs up. I'm trying to take his legacy family portrait. A little life hack that I discovered when I was a child playing the game is if you do still life or paint a picture of still life, you can just take a picture of whatever and you can pose the sim and they don't have to stand next to them. But if you take a picture as a portrait, the sim has to stand next to them the whole time. So I always do a still life so the other sim can walk around, do whatever. Dylan had to cry for a second, but now he is back, ready to get his own legacy picture taken. This is also like a remnant of the early 2000s, or I guess late 2000s, Sims 2 blogs. Legacy families always had portraits and portraits of all the founders and heirs. And I just like having pictures of all my Sims hanging up in the house. Dylan and Charlie are very upset. I don't think Danielle has cried at all. She didn't really have a good relationship with Pal. He tried to accuse her of cheating. Like, she's not like glad he's dead, but she's like, whatever.
And Charlie is slowly realizing day by day that she needs to stop worrying about what she can't control and just focus on the things that she can control, like building positive memories with her loved ones.
And let's see, Charlie has just completely turned a new leaf. She really wants to see Dylan get married. She wants to have more grandbabies. She wants to go hiking, master the painting skill. She is just in her element right now, in the zone, trying to soak up all the good things that life has to offer and never taking a moment for granted. And Charlie is afraid of having a bad interaction with a cheddar, burning some food, and having cheddar sprayed by a skunk. But yeah, she is just in her peak retirement era right now, peak grandma era. She's just going to try to focus on everything else that she can control. And then Dylan, this fine Thursday morning, is browsing the internet And he actually has decided to go ahead and start working on these junk cars that have been sitting in the family's driveway for quite some time now. He's always been too busy with school or work or his family to work on them before, but now he's like, life is short, and his one true hobby, I believe, is tinkering. So he's going to go ahead and get really into restoring cars. I think it might take some time to restore the car. I don't think he has too many mechanical skill points right now, and definitely not a lot of enthusiasm in his hobby quite yet, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So he's just gonna go ahead and start working on this car. He wants to adopt a puppy or kitten, gain a skill point, play Marco Polo in the pool, play on the computer, and resurrect his father, of course. And I think he finds working on the car very therapeutic. It lets him kind of decompress and just think about his life. And unlike Pal, he's like, I'm going to have a great relationship with my child. I'm going to make sure that Eloise always knows that she comes first, and I'm not going to choose my own hobbies and desires over spending time with her. So in a way, he's kind of watched his father, and he's noted the way he doesn't want to act. And he's confident that he and Danielle, like everyone else in Viper Falls, they just want to be different from their parents. It seems that the third generation of Viper Falls was very traumatized, very detached from parenting. And this generation is going to do a complete 180. They're like, we're going to be there for our kids. We're going to be supportive. And they've kind of realized from watching all their parents that family is what is important, not the material things. And it looks like Dylan's portrait is coming along swimmingly. I love how little bits of the painting are revealed each time. And Charlie is just in no rush. She's just taking things one day at a time. Like I said, really discovering what she likes to do other than gardening. I think Pal ran a really tight ship on the gardening. Charlie likes to garden, but Pal kind of took the fun out of the hobby. He made it more like a job for them. They were spending like 12 hours a day in the greenhouse just talking to plants. It kind of made Charlie feel a little crazy. And then Dylan's out here just working on the car. His hygiene is completely maxed out. And oh no, like I said, I think he's really struggling at first. It's not quite as easy as he envisioned it would be to start working on the car, but nothing good comes easy. And he kind of has the drive and determination now that he never had before to put towards his own desires. I think Dylan was very much in survival mode before. I think Pal unwittingly created a kind of hostile environment where it was very much like your hobby has to kind of like be beneficial. Your hobby has to bring in money somehow, like gardening. And Dylan's like, no, we can just enjoy things. And Danielle even is like not feeling Pal's constant judgment over her shoulder. She played some darts, and now she's trying out the piano. She's always been too afraid to touch before. But she is a dance instructor, so she's around music all the time. And I think Danielle is kind of getting interested in composing her own songs to dance to.
She and Dylan are two fortune sims having a quarter life crisis and just trying to learn what else there is to do in life besides make money.
I feel like Dylan just took a bath earlier. Maybe he didn't like soak himself. He's gonna go ahead and take another bath and hopefully actually get clean this time. Charlie is still hard at work on the portrait of Dylan. Danielle's gained the creativity skill point. The butler is taking care of Eloise. I'm not sure who left her lying in the hallway, but we're gonna go ahead and put Eloise back in her bed. And I do believe Eloise will be aging up into a toddler in 4 short sim hours. Everyone's obviously sad about Pal's passing, but like I said, there's also kind of an air of peace around the family. They're all kind of quietly pursuing their own interests. They're not worried about him getting out of bed and coughing and being sick. And it does seem like no one else in the family is sick. Like they're all recovered. No one else has been coughing. Yeah, and Pal's death is just weighing heavily on the family. Charlie actually got a little emotional painting the portrait of Dylan because he does look so much like his father, and she had to kind of stop and walk away for a bit, collect her thoughts. And Dylan actually has the day off today, which is good. He probably would have called out of work anyway. He's really struggling with the loss of his father. And Danielle is still practicing the piano in the sunroom. Dylan is thinking about his dad. And the butler has really stepped up in this family. He has been so helpful to Charlie in her garden. And I think she's found a renewed purpose in gardening again, a renewed interest, I suppose I should say, because there's not really pressure anymore. And I think it kind of helps her feel connected to Pal still. Oh my gosh. And then all these people need to catch up with us. The family is going through a lot right now. They don't really have time for small talk. And I love it. On this nice, sunny Thursday afternoon, Charlie's gardening. Dylan's working on the car. I think he's found that working on the exterior is a little bit easier than working on the interior. I think he is going to try to resurrect his father, but we'll see if it goes according to plan. He also needs to get a few promotions. I believe they have to be at least in level 5 of their career to get the career rewards. So he has a little bit of work ahead of him, but there's no rush. They're all just taking things one day at a time. The butler is like, okay, Charlie has taken control of her garden again, and he's kind of just leaving her be, which is exactly what she wants. I think she's finding a lot of solace just being alone in the garden. And like I said, there was a lot of pressure from Pal, especially towards the end of his life, to keep gardening constantly. But Charlie's like, I can just do it when I feel like it. And I think at this point in her life, Charlie just enjoys talking to the plants. She is completely in the zone right now. I think for a while there, she wasn't. For a while there, her enthusiasm in nature definitely waned. But yeah, she is just loving gardening again because there's no pressure to it. She doesn't really care. I mean, they all turn out great because it's a greenhouse, but she's not like trying to always get perfect crops now. She's just in it for the love of the game. And working on the car absolutely exhausted Dylan. He's going to go ahead and take a quick nap at 6 p.m. We'll wake him up before the night gets too far along, just so he doesn't have his sleep schedule all messed up. And it is 6 p.m., so Eloise should be aging up into a toddler any moment now. I wonder who in the family has the closest relationship with her. I think it's either going to be Charlie or Danielle aging her up. Dylan hasn't interacted with her too much, but he's been busy with his career and then the death of his father, of course. But I think now, as more time goes on, he's going to spend more time with Eloise. I'm also curious to see if Dylan and Danielle have another child. Like I said before, they're both fortune sims, very career-oriented, so I'm not sure if having another baby is in the cards for them. I think they were both surprised to have Eloise, but they obviously are so glad that she's here, and they love her very much. Okay, my game just paused for a second and I got really scared, but I think it's just trying to load Eloise's birthday. It looks like she has a black hair like her grandfather Pal, which is actually pretty sweet. Charlie had red hair when she was younger, Danielle has blonde hair, and Dylan has brown hair. So I really love how she got her grandfather's hair color. And Danielle just loves her daughter so much. She never saw herself as being a mom, but now that she has Eloise, she's like, wow, this is actually pretty nice. And it's so cool to have a little tiny sim so reliant on her. So it looks like Eloise isn't aging up quite yet. We'll go and put her to bed. Danielle can't speak. Oh, there we go. And Eloise is now a toddler and she looks adorable. We're going to give her a quick little makeover. And Dylan just totally slept through his daughter's birthday, but that is a-okay. He's pretty tired. And oh my gosh, Cheddar is pretty stinky. I think Pal was sadly giving him a bath the previous night when Pal passed. So we definitely need to make sure that we give Cheddar a bath very quickly. And here's Dylan picking up his daughter. And he's going to start potty training her immediately. I can't remember if Dylan learned all his skills or not. I feel like he didn't learn them all. He had the twins as a sibling because parents were working a lot. I think Dylan had a very lonely childhood. And he's kind of like the forgotten sim, kind of in the background, always kept his head down, just working hard. But he is so proud of Eloise. And we got her a bigger crib immediately as well. And her little panda bear footy pajamas. We're going to go ahead and put her to bed. And Dylan looks like he needs to grab a bite to eat really quick. And also take a shower before he heads back to bed as well. So yeah, he is a conspiracy level 2 right now. He just needs to get up to a level 5 in order to get the resurrection phone. And then he can bring his father back. So I think that will be a very interesting plot line to explore. Dylan working to get his dad back. And it looks like Danielle went ahead and made breakfast for dinner. She's serving up some eggs Benedict. And that food is sparkling because we use the fresh produce from the greenhouse to cook it. So because Cheddar's bath was never finished the previous night, we're gonna go ahead and have Charlie give him another bath. It looks like everybody's pretty hungry right now. So we'll go ahead and have the adults. I see, Danielle, you have the food right in front of you, girly girl. And so we're going to go ahead and have the adults eat dinner and then head to bed because it is getting pretty late. And Dylan's kind of like still reminiscing about his dad. He's like, my dad never played baseball with me as a kid. I begged him to. I don't even like baseball that much, but he was always in that greenhouse. And Danielle's just listening. And honestly, that's just what Dylan needs right now, is someone just to listen. And Danielle's like, I'll play baseball with you. And I'll watch wrestling with you too. I'll do everything with you. And Dylan's kind of like, okay, so maybe my dad wasn't the greatest, but I can still be a great dad and a great partner and just be better. That is a common theme that we've been exploring in Viper Falls, just trying to be better and doing good where we can. Charlie is taking a bath, just soaking. Everybody loves this bathtub. I think it might actually be the only tub in the house. So we probably need to build them a second bathroom. But Charlie is just soaking in the tub before bed. She is perma platinum, so I think that's helped her kind of grieve Pal better. She's not crying as much over him, although she does miss her husband dearly. It's just going to be different in the house from now on. And I think it was really stressful for the family, especially as Pal's illness got worse when he was just coughing around the house, refusing to rest. And now Charlie can kind of breathe easy, doesn't have to always be watching him, making sure he's taken care of. She can kind of take care of herself. And just, I think Charlie is so gorgeous. She is one of the prettiest Sims I've ever had in game. And truly, she's one of my favorites. And now it's Danielle's turn in the family bath. No one has been taking a bubble bath recently. I think they're too depressed. They're just trying to get in, get out. And Danielle really wants to write a best-selling novel. I think she's been inspired by Joe Carr's novel. And she's like, I could write a novel about my family's life.
I think some rumors are starting to swirl around Viper Falls that Joe's quote-unquote novel is actually just a thinly veiled, non-fictional collection of essays about his family. So now Danielle's like, okay, let me write a thinly veiled non-fiction novel about this family.
Danielle's a little nervous about Pal coming back as a zombie. I think Dylan's kind of floated the idea by her that he can possibly resurrect Pal if he can get promoted at work. And she's like, I'm a little afraid of it backfiring. But she really wants to write a novel, make some money, and buy some nice art. Charlie is awake right now, so she's gonna go ahead and potty train Eloise. Like I said, I don't think Pal and Charlie were necessarily bad parents. They were just way more focused on their garden and greenhouse versus actually spending time with their children, and that kind of affected Dylan and his siblings for quite some time. But now Charlie is all in, trying to be the most hands-on grandma she can be, trying to just be better. Like I said, everyone's just trying to be better than they were the day before, because really, that's all you can do. And then she's going to go ahead and go back to sleep and get some shut-eye because it is 3 in the morning. I love the picture of Charlie hanging behind her on the wall. Eloise is up, crawling around, just watching her parents sleep. And that's the life of an only child. She's always entertaining herself. I think her parents are strictly one and done. And it looks like someone is getting up right now. Dylan's gonna go ahead and get up for the day. His energy bar is fully rested. We'll have him go ahead and take care of Eloise this morning. Just kind of tend to the house, get things organized.
And he's still thinking about resurrecting his dad, but it is just a pipe dream at the moment, as he's not high enough in the paranormal career track quite yet, but it's still heavy on his mind.
He doesn't have a pool in the backyard. I don't know why. He wants to play Marco Polo. He also wants to gain a skill point, adopt a puppy or kitten, buy a nice sculpture. Danielle also wants to buy a nice sculpture. I will give the house a little makeover in just a second. But Dylan is just reflecting on his life and his father's life, and I guess he's mourning the fact that he never had a good relationship with his father, and now he never will. And even like we observed in Powell's last few days, he just was kind of being stubborn, refusing to let the family help him. The family had to watch him suffer, and he just kept trying to overexert himself. And now everybody can kind of breathe easy. Dylan's like, oh my gosh. Of course, now the bathtub's broken. It's the family's only source of showering, bathing. So we're going to have to go ahead and fix that. At least he does have some mechanical skill points because he's been tinkering with the cars out front. So this shouldn't be too hard for him to fix. Maybe. Danielle really wants to write a novel. Like I said, the whole neighborhood has been taken by storm by Joe Carr's
novel, that's in quotes because he really just published essentially a slightly changed version of his life where he exposed all the family secrets. Go watch Dean's episodes if you want to know more about that. But anyway, his novel is a hit. The whole neighborhood loves it. They're like, he's so creative. And now Danielle's like, I want to write a novel too. And it's just a stormy summer morning, and Danielle wants to go to work. Fortune Sims always roll the want to go to work. Easy way to keep their moods up. And Danielle and Dylan are just so in love, so happy. They're not engaged, no plans to be married. And that kind of terrifies Charlie, who always did things the traditional way. And Dylan's realizing it's okay if his parents don't understand his relationship with Danielle, because he and Danielle understand each other, and that's all that matters. Charlie has really stepped up her grandmother game. She already has a grandchild from Dawn, but since Dawn moved out, Charlie rarely sees him. But especially with the passing of Pal, Charlie is determined to be the best grandmother ever, and she's doing a pretty good job. She's teaching Eloise all her toddler skills. And she doesn't have a want to resurrect Pal, but she is afraid that he will come back as a zombie. So I think that Dylan's kind of brought it up before. He's like, hey, in my job, they're trying this new thing with the resurrection. He's kind of lost the want to bring Pal back, but it's still in the back of his mind. He's also kind of afraid of his father coming back as a zombie now. I think Charlie's like, there's a lot that could go wrong. This seems like a new type of science. I don't know if it's totally safe. And Dylan's like, okay, you're right. So Dylan's kind of dropped it, but the fact that he even had the idea or the want at all, I really think he's going to try to pursue that once he has the ability to in his career. Charlie's just eating some leftovers. And now that his dad is gone, I think Dylan's finally back in the garden. His dad yelled at him when he was younger for helping in the garden. He said he was just getting in the way. And Dylan really internalized that for so long. He was afraid to step into the garden. But now kind of things are changing. He sees his mom struggling to keep up with such a big garden. And he's like, you know what? I'm here. I'm in a better mood. I'm an adult. I can help you out. And Charlie really appreciates that. Again, things were so different before Powell passed, but now that he's passed, the whole family is like, wow, life is short. Let's just all be nice to each other and celebrate each other while we can. It's really changed the dynamics of this house following the passing of Pal. Everybody is much nicer to each other. They get along much better. They're much more patient, and they just don't take the small things for granted anymore. Eloise is down for a little mid-morning nap. She is absolutely adorable. And Dylan's like, oh, is she gonna yell at me? Am I like ruining the garden? But no, she's so happy that he's there. And they're doing something as a mother and son. And I think their relationship is only gonna get stronger and stronger as time goes on. And Charlie loves spending time with her son and sharing her one true hobby with him. And she's realizing now that it doesn't matter if the plants are perfect, because she and Pal had a perfect garden, and like, for what? So now Charlie and Dylan are just gardening for the love of the game, not perfection. And Charlie even trusts Dylan enough to go back inside the house and let him kind of work on the garden by himself. I mean, he is overwatering some plants, but that's okay. He's still learning. I don't know why he's so obsessed with watering these plants that are clearly dripping and brown. Is he gonna just keep going back and forth? Okay. So he clearly Dylan does not have the green thumb, and that's what kind of made him and Pal fight so much when he was younger. But he's trying, and Charlie recognizes that he's trying to help, and that's really all that matters. Doesn't matter if it's perfect, if it's ruining the garden. The fact that he wants to try and help is all that matters. And the household is just very interested in learning and exploring as many hobbies and passions as they can right now. So Dylan went ahead and bought a synthesizer. But he's just really interested in playing more instruments, helping out in the garden, helping or repairing the old car. He's so much more present in his life. Pal's death was just a massive wake-up call to the whole family that life is short and they want to spend as much time with their loved ones as possible. And then Charlie is back outside quietly fixing all the plants that Dylan kind of messed up. But she's not mad. She's like, it's okay. He's trying. And she and Pal didn't really let Dylan help out in the garden when he was younger. So he doesn't really know how to help. They were so secretive and kind of crazy with the garden. And it's not like they ever managed to open a store or anything. Like, the fruits and vegetables were just for their own enjoyment. So it's kind of crazy that, like, Pal would get so mad at Dylan for helping. And it's sad that Dylan just has all these memories of his dad being mad at him or disappointed in him or just not present at all. So Dylan is just channeling all that anger and grief into his songwriting and just exploring all the skills that he's always kind of put off. He is a fortune sim, so he's always been very money hungry, career oriented. But I think he's realizing that money isn't everything. He's coming to realizations that other Sims took their whole lives to realize, or in his father's case, that some Sims didn't realize at all. Dylan is realizing how much he wants to be connected with his family. So Dylan is gonna go ahead and try to climb the top of the ladder just so he can get that resurrection-o-meter and start pursuing his options and bringing his dad back. Because I think he thinks if he brings his dad back, it'll kind of be like another shot at life with his dad. Like maybe he and his dad will finally have a good relationship. Maybe things will be different. But I don't think bringing the Sim back is going to change their personality. Like, he's going to bring back his dad, and he's still going to be acting the way he did before he passed. Dylan has some rose-colored glasses on when it comes to that. He seems to think that if he brings his dad back, it'll kind of fix things because everyone else in the family has realized life is important. But Pal's still going to be kind of grumpy and distant and not the dad that Dylan has in his mind. I think with the passing too, Dylan's relationship with Pal has softened. Dylan's kind of forgetting how tense things were between them, how often they would fight, and how mean his dad could be at times. And then it looks like Komai and Dawn have actually stopped by, and Dawn is really not taking the news of their father's death well. Dawn is Dylan's older sibling, Charlie and Pal's firstborn, along with her twin brother, Dawson. Dawn and Dawson moved out of the house relatively... Danielle is attracted to Komai, which is very interesting. I think Komai is a big CEO. He's not even there anymore. He's a big CEO, so she's really attracted, I think, to that money he can bring in. So Danielle is just attracted to Komai because he is a big CEO. And we'll explore more of Dawn and Komai, of course, in the upcoming parts. Komai is Dawn's husband, who Daisy infamously tried to hook up with when Daisy briefly lived with Dawn and Komai. And of course, Daisy trying to seduce Komai led to Dawn promptly kicking Daisy out of the house and into the arms of Christopher, the former butler. That is a brand new sentence. Per usual, we're pretty bad at keeping up with our friends, especially given all the, I don't know, drama they've gone through. I don't think Danielle and Dylan will be having a second child. I really think they're content with just Eloise and their own small little family, not Cheddar begging for food. Dylan just fed him earlier. That's so funny. And then Charlie is still with Eloise, teaching her how to talk. It looks like she's getting pretty tired, so I think we're gonna put her in bed for another little nap. And Charlie is just being the most devoted grandmother she can be. Pal's death has really made her see what's important in life, and she wants Eloise to have good memories of her grandmother. Now that Danielle is home from work, she's going to do some yoga and just kind of decompress after work. She really wants to get another promotion as well as write a best-selling novel. Those are her two big goals right now. I think she needs to get her body skills up just a little bit for that promotion. So what better way to do that on this fine summer afternoon than doing some yoga in the backyard? Each day, she gets closer and closer to her original idea of kind of writing some family drama, but labeling it fiction, like Joe Carr is rumored to have done. But she is still brainstorming some novel ideas. And Dawn's been hanging around the house. I don't know what she's been up to. Dawn and Dawson rarely visit. I think I've touched on it a little bit in this episode. But yeah, the tragedy that fell on Charlie's family really affected their childhoods. They went from having a very attentive and hands-on mother to just a totally distant, checked-out mom. Dawn and Charlie are mending their relationship as well. Everyone's just trying to be nicer and kinder to each other. Charlie is best friends forever with all her children, but her relationship with Dawn and Dawson especially have kind of deteriorated over time. They're still close, but not as close as they were. But Charlie's making an effort now to rebuild that relationship, and it looks like Eloise has awoken from her evening nap and, of course, went straight to the toilet and started splashing around. Toddlers love playing in the toilets in this game. It's so funny. Even with floors full of toys, they still go to the toilet. And Charlie, as usual, is doing her little college cheer for Dawn. Charlie is obsessed with doing her college cheer. I've never seen a sim do the college cheer more than Charlie. Charlie is just full of school spirit and is always wanting to show off. And it's really healing for both Charlie and Dawn to have this moment. Dylan has a chance card at work. We can go ahead and pause to read. I think he would publish it. Okay, he gained some charisma skills. Nothing too exciting. No big bonuses or promotions, but maybe he'll get some as time goes on. And we definitely need those charisma skills if he wants to get a promotion, so that's actually good. Dylan really does not care about climbing the corporate career track anymore. He just wants to get to level 5 to get that resurrection phone.
And the family is out of food again, but not to worry.
We have so much fresh produce to stock the fridge with.
Oh, Gorshan.
Realized I might have to put some more in to see. I'm not really sure what qualifies, like how they decide like what food makes what, but whatever. So she went ahead and she's gonna make some burgers for dinner. The butler is retiring for the evening, and it's just a nice, peaceful summer evening. We're just waiting on Dylan to get home from work. Charlie misses Pal deeply, but also she's been in a relationship since pretty much she was fresh out of college. And then they were so codependent and obsessed with their garden. It looks like Dawn is going to go ahead and head out for the evening. Danielle is just taking a little bath, thinking about getting a promotion. And she really, really is going to try to write that best-selling novel. I think she wants to secretly overtake Joe as like the best novel in Viper Falls. And right now, Joe is the only author in Viper Falls. So he's kind of the best by default. But he also wrote a really good book. But Danielle's like, I can write a better one, but she just can't think of any ideas. She's having a bit of writer's block. Little does she know that Joe didn't really write anything fictional. Everything he wrote was reality and his own life. Charlie is absolutely obsessed with her granddaughter. I think they have the closest relationship in the house. They are best friends. They spend all their time together. And not that Danielle and Dylan aren't hanging out with Eloise, but they're kind of more career focused. Especially Danielle wanting to pursue her writing ambitions too. Danielle has a lot on her plate, and Charlie's like, I'm retired. This is what being a grandma is all about, is spoiling your grandchildren. Charlie definitely has like bumper stickers and cross-stitch pillows that say, I love my granddaughter, like honk if you love your grandchildren. She gives that type of energy now, which is so funny because she never thought that she'd be that type of grandmother before. But she's kind of realizing that's a ridiculous notion. Like she never thought she'd be a loving grandmother before. And Eloise knocked out immediately after getting into that crib, despite having 2 naps throughout the day. It's hard work being a toddler. Danielle is also going to go ahead and head to bed for the evening. She's still thinking really hard about what she wants her novel to be about, and she's really afraid of writing a flop novel. She's kind of a perfectionist, but I think that perfectionism is holding her back, and she'd be much better off if she just started writing rather than waiting for the perfect idea. And she has a lot to work with. Like maybe she can write a thriller novel about a father-in-law who's weirdly obsessed with like her, the daughter-in-law. Loosely based on Pow's life, of course, but since Pow isn't around anymore, she can take some artistic liberties. The only question is, if she starts writing a novel based on her own life, is it gonna strain her relationship with Charlie, Dylan, and Eloise? A lot to think about. And Charlie is just doing some light housekeeping, putting away the leftovers. She's just having a quiet evening, lots of time to think. Dylan is home from work, no promotion. And hopefully he doesn't pass out right now. We're gonna go ahead and have him use the bathroom, take a shower, and head to bed. So just a quiet little evening in the family's life. Things have really settled down since Powell has died. Maybe bringing the question, was Powell the drama? Not necessarily the drama, but he was definitely creating a lot of tension in the house. Everybody was so worried about him like being sick and overexerting himself, and at the same time he was still kind of the quote unquote man of the house, still trying to run things despite being very, very ill. It's just a very stressful situation for everybody, and now that he is at peace, everyone can kind of rest easy. And it looks like Dylan has abandoned his idea or his dream of resurrecting his father, but I think it's still on the table. I think his career and the fact that he kind of brought it up to his mom, they are going to explore that later on, and we're going to see if Powell comes back as he was or as a zombie. And then Eloise is wide awake at 1:30 in the morning, but thankfully she let herself out of the crib. Everybody else is still asleep. Eloise has just been the best addition to the family. She's just brought them all close together after an unimaginable loss.
Cheddar has been through this family through thick and thin. He is everyone's best friend.
Plus, I think I read somewhere that relationships, like it's easier to make relationships in the summertime, which is why you'll see the little sun during the summer, because they're building the relationship faster. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think romance happens more in the spring. Like it's easier to get romance up in the spring, friendship in the summer, and then I'm not sure about fall and winter. I'll look it up and get back to you guys. I don't know why Cheddar is howling right now. Eloise doesn't care. She's gonna follow him around. And Eloise just lives such a charmed life in the best way. She's close with her grandmother, her parents, and the family dog. She's an only child, so she's super spoiled. And she just lives such a peaceful existence.
For now, Eloise is blissfully unaware of the family drama and dynamics, but undoubtedly she'll learn more about the family as she ages. But for now, she's just in that little childhood bubble.
Danielle is dreaming about having another baby, but I think it's just a dream. Like I said, she and Dylan don't really seem to have any interest in having a second child. They were really surprised when they got pregnant the first time, and they've definitely been way more careful since. Just they don't want a second child. They love Eloise so much, but she is more than enough for them. And then Charlie is awake. She's gonna babysit Eloise right now while she's awake.
And we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping things up for this episode. In part 2, I think Dylan and Danielle are gonna go on a date night. Charlie's gonna babysit Eloise, and the family's just gonna continue to try to move on following Powell's sudden death and just trying to make the best of their life and living every moment to its fullest. Dylan's realized he has become way too career focused like his dad, and he doesn't want to end up that way.
And here we can see Charlie is back in her element, gardening late at night. And yeah, like I said, she's found a renewed love for gardening now that she can kind of do it on her own terms. Okay, y'all, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.